Right, so I've just been watching a video by Nigel Watson. I go through phases where he winds me up, and I don't watch his videos for a long time because the reason why I do get irritated with some of his videos is I find some of them quite patronising. One of the things he often goes on about is anonymous cowards, and something I thought of recently. Well, would you call special forces anonymous cowards, or MI5, or someone along them lines? The old school special forces and MI5 definitely, but they keep anonymous because it's for their safety. You know, they've done things that will come and haunt them or come and catch them up. But so that's with anonymous cowards, and also there's a bit of hypocrisy because it's easy to say some of the things he says in Finland. You know, he has hinted at the multicultural thing in Rochdale, but obviously he's for a long time he's lived an extremely long way away from that mess that is modern day Rochdale and surrounding towns around Greater Manchester. So there is an element of hypocrisy there. But anyway, he did a good video today, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to all of it. I was just kind of chilling out on my sofa listening, and it was about how normies, how they won't get it and they never will get it. Now, again, without being rude to you, Mr. Watson, you've said before that you need to start talking to people in your day-to-day life, and without being rude, your channel's a bit of an echo chamber. There's probably 19,000 people that think very similar to you. I doubt you, on a day-to-day basis or at least weekly basis, interact with proper full-on normies, especially UK normies, which are a different breed, without bigging myself up like I do, because I meet these people on a day-to-day basis, and I throw seeds at them, hoping that they'll grow. And there's two examples I can give from literally within the last week. So the first example I give is at RAF Duxford. So at RAF Duxford, I arrived, had a decent chat with a lady there, and then started walking into the event. And as I was getting up close, there was a guy in front of me, and the fellow photographer, if I remember correctly, had a long lens that he was carrying like on handle, one of them 600mm lenses. And he looked really cool from the back. He had like a hat, long sleeve shirt, sort of hiking trousers, so he looked like someone you'd expect to find walking the Nile or something like that. Until I got a bit closer, and I was like, oh God, he's got a face mask on. So I thought, you know what, I'll just make a bit of passive-aggressive conversation. I'd be on it if I'm honest. I just said, oh bloody hell, it must be hot wearing that mask. And he said to me, well, it's better, really kind of feeble way he said it as well. It was quite pathetic, really. So it's better to be safe than sorry. And I was like, how to address this? I think I just said, safe from what? I knew the answer, and he goes, Divic 91, which is another brilliant phrase you've created, Mr. Watson. And I kind of sniggered, and I think then I said something along the lines of, well, I don't think you need to be worried about that. And then he said, there's 4,000 people hospitalised in London. I just couldn't believe it, all this time later, and these people still haven't got it. So I had a pause, and I thought, because my heart was racing. I'm not the best at these situations, but I thought, how do I go about this? And I calmed myself down before I said anything else. I just realised, there's no need to get nasty, and I just said, so what do you think about these revelations that the procedures have caused hospitalisations? And his reaction was, it's a microscopic one. When I did the maths, I think 4,000 out of a population of 10 million, presuming that figure's even real, the 4,000 figure. Well, it's microscopic in itself, but hospitalised could be just, a bad cold or a flu. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to pass away, does it? Anyway, I think all I said to him was, well, I'm glad I didn't take any. And as you can imagine, he just slowly disappeared and backed off. But later on at the event, we're talking a good couple of hours later when the event was coming to an end. It'd been a really hot day. I got a good suntan, And I saw him at the end still walking around with his mask on, so he must have kept it on all day. Bear in mind, this is outdoors, so he's been walking around with that on all day. And what, 4 years on? And when I really thought about it, I just felt sorry for him, and that's what I'm going to do from now on. Rather than getting aggressive or nasty with these people, just be sympathetic. One way because they're pathetic, but in another way, they you think how badly these people have been traumatised by it all. It's scandalous what these people have done, but I'm talking about the people who enforced all this, whether it's your fellow working class people who've enforced it, the little tyrants that who encouraged wearing them nappies on your face. So, but then again, there's an element where I think, well, if you're that feeble and pathetic that you can roll over and take all this, and then what do you do? These are men as well. These are supposedly the people who go out and fight battles for the country or your tribe once upon a time, but they've been softened up that badly. I noticed this in a lot of white middle class areas. The population, despite being academically quite intelligent, they're stupid in a lot of others. Cambridgeshire, Liberal Democrat signs everywhere. They're more or less saying that they want to become like Bradford or Nurm, which obviously doesn't work in reality. It's not this big rainbow flag flying utopia of multiculturalism. It's an absolute hellhole, and that's why everyone ends up packing up and leaving. But they need to experience this themselves. Hopefully, maybe they will do, but hopefully they'll experience it and quickly change their values and opinions. Hartford and Ware yesterday. So I went to that area yesterday, and I came to the train station, and there was a lady there putting like a mosaic up, and we started chatting. It was all right. It was nice general chit chat about the mosaic and about Ware. Gave me some good information about the local area to go and see the gazebos down on the river, and then they mentioned about that it's always raining at the minute, and I just thought I'd throw a seed in there and say, have you heard of cloud seeding? Quite ironic that, about seeds. And I don't think she had. I said, in Dubai where they've been modifying the weather, I just said, well, whenever I see that around here, it's seriously heavy rain, it does cross my mind. And they both started laughing, and she said, well, I don't believe anyone will be wanting to do that here. I said, but it's really happening. It's actually happened. It's not a made-up thing. It's actually been admitted. And then I thought, well, you know what? I'll look up in the sky. And, as usual, you can see all the crap that the planes have left behind, all the trails. And I said, yeah, but that sky's not natural, is it? And I think the lady doing the mosaic just kind of turned around and said, crazy. And they more or less chinned me off immediately there. It's just a complete barriers down. The lady stood up, started talking to the lady doing the work on the ground, and it was basically just a big F off to me. And initially I felt a bit offended, but then I thought, you know what, we know who we are these days, like I've done a video on before. We're talking 4 years ago, we all discovered who we were, the line in the sand. 3 years ago in particular, where certain people rolled the sleeves up and abided either for selfish reasons or ridiculous delusions, or to just go along with the crowd. So yeah, that was kind of the end of it really. I walked down the train station, and then carried on with my journey. Didn't say goodbye to them or anything like that, because I think there's almost like an unwritten vibe you can get from people when it's they've got nothing in common with you. It's almost like discovering each other, like the enemy meeting the enemy. Because once upon a time, not so long ago, we kind of were. You got to remember, some of these people, I've said this before, would have been the same NPC clowns, that would have celebrated as the heretics were dragged off and put to the flames. Only a couple of 100 years ago. You could really see how dangerous some of these people are, how easily they can be whipped up into fear, manipulated. So there's nothing to be upset about really when I thought about it. I've tried to broaden their horizons from Radio 4, which is probably what these people listen to, in their sheltered lives while away from the horrors of reality of the world. But yeah, to get back to the original point with Nigel Watson's video about why some people won't ever be woken up, he's right. You know, it's the Matrix is kind of real, really. There's a lot of people that are never going to be woken up because it's scary. I'll tell you another thing. Again, going back to myself talking to normies, which happens at least every week, maybe every day or two sometimes. A work colleague of mine, he's a good lad, known him for a long time, and I explained to him what I thought the people who are living in the hotels are here for, and you know, I'm a strong believer that they're soldiers waiting to be deployed when that procedure starts to go wrong, and it gives the government a chance to bring in round two, basically. And who will be in charge of that one? You know, will it be Mr. Farage if he gets in? Will it be Starmer? It's not going to be Conservatives, thankfully. Hopefully they get completely obliterated and have to go and find real jobs, where they don't just be bad actors deceiving the masses. Yeah, so yeah, he's right. You know, a lot of people can't be woken up. The Matrix is kind of real. On a closing note, if Mr. Watson, you do come across this video, you know, keep up your good videos, but you know, like I said at the beginning, there's a few hypocrisies you need to be made aware of, and give it a rest with the old funny moustache man, because well, let's put it this way, Rochdale wasn't as it is now. You know, it wouldn't have ended up that way if a moustache man had either been left alone to fight against another moustache man to the east. We wouldn't have ended up in this mess, basically, is what I'm saying, had we left him alone and not got involved in that stupid war that has essentially destroyed the UK. I think it said a lot. Recently, we've got the D-Day 80th, and just down the road you've got all the migrants waiting to get on the boats and come across. You know, we're being it's an invasion of a different method going the other way. Except this lot won't be going home, and they're going to cause problems, as you've already discovered in Rochdale. So what I'm saying is the outcome doesn't fit the narrative, which is going to have to be a different video because I've done enough on this one. So that's it for today. Cheers.